We will be shareable and careable here in just a moment. Okay. All right, I just shared.
I think I caught it this time.
Ooh, it's a
I
Monday
caught it.
miracle.
Apparently I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
You didn't. You
I don't
didn't
know
quite
why.
get it.
I thought I did. I did what I do when I do it, and I did it, and it didn't matter.
Didn't do it.
Didn't do it. Try it again. Okay. Got it. Done. Finished through. Got it.
I am ready when you are.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
It is the Brad and Britt cast. It's our first one for this week. Thank you for joining us. We are sort of live in the 1:30 Eastern hour as we do this thing for you on Monday. Oh, by the way, you know what I noticed watching the news? I love catching guys who should know better, who are in lofty positions in broadcasting, who they've made, they're at the very top, and they are no better than the little baby pukers who work the all-night shift at a 250 watt AM station in Sparta. Okay, and you ready? Here's the name. Ready? David Muir, ABC News.
All
if
right.
you watch him now, here I'm going to ask you to just watch one night, okay. And count how many times when there's a story that's being led into, or he's coming back and he's trying to be the transition guy, because that's really all the person whose name is on. They're just handing off the story, but he will throw in. I caught it 4 times on Friday. On a Friday, God,
Britt, I hated that.
Right? Hey, it's 66 degrees on a Friday, which is you're filling space. You're killing time. You're doing nothing. He says it over and over and over again. And are you telling me that nobody notices that? Nobody catches that? What a horrendously pathetic, pointless use of space and time and the right to cliche. No. Hey, Britt, on a Monday, we're doing a podcast. It sounds stupid when we do it, right? It just sounds stupid. Why don't we put in what day it is in between every story that we do? All right, on a Monday, let's go over to talk. No, that is the.
We just had a meeting. We just had a meeting with a consultant. The consultant says every time it's Friday, mention that as much as possible because people love Fridays, but never say Monday. People hate Mondays. Don't remind them that it's Monday. That reminds them that their life sucks.
Hey, look what I got just a second ago. I got one of those. Are you in this video? Messages from somebody.
Oh, Jesus! Yeah, that's one of those phishing things where they're trying to get you to put a thing on there.
What, this one might be real on a Monday.
Oh yeah. Check it out. You might be in a video. Yeah.
Stop it.
And the Nigerian prince might have come through with the money. There was another one that said Prince Philip has left you money in his will or something. That was another one that was going around. You need to click on this link to see how much money you're getting from Prince Philip.
It's a busy news day here on a Monday. Okay, we know all right. I want you to help me settle something. This became a fun fight. This is a fun fight that broke out on my Facebook page on Friday because I saw that commercial for the 8 billionth time. The Liberty Mutual commercial, not with Doug and Emo, the buddy guys, right? The Mel Gibson, right? But the guy screaming, "Get your teddy bears! Ha 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 ha! Only get pay for what." And I took a picture of it while it was on, and I said, "This is possibly the worst of the worst." The most unfunny thing ever. Just know. And I would rather buy my insurance from the Bernie Madoff Mutual Insurance Company before I would ever buy Lyft because their campaign is intentionally annoying. And most people agreed with me. A few people were schooling me on how stupid I was because I was talking about it. And they're just trying to get name recognition. And if you knew anything about the media and advertising, you'd know that they've accomplished their goal. You're talking about them. Not quite, because
not exactly,
not exactly. But the opposite argument is, look, they've been doing this crap for years and years and years, and all the insurance companies are in a race to the bottom, trying to be either funny or just get your attention. Geico kind of carved that out with the best ad agency.
Who started that? They were the ones that started doing the pithy, ridiculous things.
Right. No, they were started, and they have an ad agency, and it's out of Richmond, Virginia. I can't remember the name of it, and they're the brains behind the Caveman from a few years, all those ads and the rest, and the rest are trying to catch up, and I get it, but these Liberty Mutual, and obviously it's because I must watch the channels that they buy, probably the news channels and things. I mean, I get that, but I find this one particularly horrible. A lot of people agree, some people don't agree, and then my brother from California, he chimed in and picked out another one that's on all the time that you can't get away from, which is the Allstate commercial with the black guy driving the car with the hood, the silver hood ornament that starts singing. They're singing, it's the Pet Shop Boys, right? It's Pet Shop Boys song.
Let's make lots of money or whatever that song was.
And it's like creepy out of some a combination of John Waters, Bela Lugosi, and a slasher movie. That's what that commercial seems like. And my brother said, I think that one's the worst. I said, I can't argue with that. I mean, it's miserable too. And again, funny, I don't have Allstate insurance either. So on and on we went. And then I pointed out that the last, what I think was really quality insurance campaign was the nationwide Life Comes at You Fast series of commercials.
That's
Fabio in the boat and he hits his head, all kinds of things. And it was fun. They were funny. They made their point. you need to get insurance because you don't know what's going to. But they weren't trying to just be irritating. And I bring it up because an old friend of mine was the brains behind that campaign. He's no longer with us, sadly. A guy named Steve Schreibman out of Columbus, Ohio, Nationwide Insurance. But boy, since that campaign ended and Geico really stepped up, wow. just wow. So
they really embrace like
you
the
make
10
the call.
and
You make the call here.
Well, I like the Mayhem guy from Allstate, where he's like the one guy who played Dennis on 30 Rock, and stuff would happen to him, and he's I'm your satellite dish, and then shit would happen, or I'm your cooler in the back, and I'm leaking, and and then the guy wrecks because he's trying to keep the cooler from leaking. I like that guy pretty much, but yeah, it's gotten the Liberty Mutual ones are especially annoying when they put those people on that boardwalk or whatever it is supposed to be in Atlantic City. But I'm in agreement with you. I don't think any publicity is good publicity. Like everybody knows Derek Chauvin's name, and it's not good. It's not good. It's not positive
who
at all.
Really has 100% name recognition? Hitler. Big deal. Great business. So what? So everybody knows Liberty Mutual. Now, does the campaign work? I guess they're standing in front. It's obviously a fake shot with the Statue of Liberty, New York Harbor. They're not at the boardwalk because, of course. See, Liberty, Statue of Liberty.
Liberty.
That's just hilarious on it.
It's so clever.
Yeah.
That's why I've switched all my stuff over to Liberty Mutual because they're just that clever and good. I absolutely did all that. Homeowners car.
Somebody else pointed out that this idea that they use this line, only pay for what you need. Wait a minute. Are you telling me nobody else does that? I mean, I'm paying for shit I don't need with everybody, but just you guys? And the answer, of course, is no. They're all the same. They just are, and they're not special. And I just had to get that out because I thought it was just painful.
It would be nice at this point to get Flo and the gecko and that emu. And then maybe the teddy bear guy all in a car and just set it on fire or plunge it over a cliff. That would be a fun commercial. I would enjoy that. And I know it would be a collaborative effort, but then I would pick one of those insurance companies and I would go with them. If they would just put all of those things in a car and plunge it over a cliff.
You gave me an idea. What if they did a bring back of the show Lost, and all the people on the airplane were the insurance mascots, okay? You have Flo and the Liberty Mutual jerk and a bunch of the Geico people,
right?
And Chris Paul, Jesus Christ, from State Farm. By the way, I think the State Farm campaign it's not offensive, and it's not funny, and it's not memorable. I don't get those at all. I think they're terrible.
I think there is a lot of women that find Jake attractive though. When they kind of switched Jake's from the dumpy looking guy to the hot black guy, I think a lot of chicks are into that guy. I don't know. I've done just a cursory study, and a lot of them, but I don't know if that makes them change their insurance over. I don't think anybody goes, let me do that. That guy's pretty hot.
Yeah, and I understand the basic problem. They're selling a product that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to have to think about insurance.
And it's pretty much a massive ripoff. Yeah. It's a faceless, awful thing. But like you've always pointed out, the biggest building in pretty much every city is some insurance building. That's what it is. But you got to have it. You got to do it. If you have a mortgage, you have to have it. If you're financing a car, you got to have the shit on your car. You don't really have a choice. So it's like, fuck it, I'll just pick one. That's the way it used to be. But now it's like, this one's pithy. I'll take this one. I guess that's what they're trying to do. And it's been, the other thing is they shoved Flo out of the way, and they got that little Jamie kid. He was supposed to like put a fresh coat of paint on that whole situation, right?
Wow.
The redheaded guy.
Yeah.
It's quirky. Well, that's what it is.
That way, if something happens to one of them, they've got somebody else. All right, on a Monday.
Yes, on a Monday.
There are some real things going on. And can we start with actual, honest to goodness, real good news? And it's about North Carolina, and they scored this state a big deal from Apple, and they're gonna build a gigantic office thing, distribution brainiac center with thousands of people working in the Research Triangle, and that means other jobs that come in besides just the Apple job, that maybe 10,000, who knows how many. They're spent hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, this is the first time Apple has planted its flag anywhere on the East Coast like this, and North Carolina got it. And by God, how long have we been, if not joking, but just kind of throwing our hands up in the air that every time we talk about, North Carolina's in the running for the plant, the car plant, this plant, and it never happens.
Yeah.
This time it's really happening, and there's just no downside to it at all, as far as I can see. I would assume that the price of everybody's house in Raleigh-Durham just went up a little bit, because if a bunch of people are going to be trying to buy homes and move in there, it just got a lot of people who make a lot of money coming in there. Now, I was looking at Roy Cooper's Facebook page.
Yeah.
And he, of course, puts it up there. And it didn't take till about the fourth or fifth person to attack the idea of, we need these West Coast California people coming in here to tell us how to do it right, to ruin our state. Sure. Okay.
We've had all these great companies in the Raleigh area, the great Southern companies like Pfizer, for a long time. So, to get these West Coasters in there, it's going to be so weird. It's going to be so. I mean, and the whole genesis of all this stuff was the establishment of Research Triangle Park all those years ago, right? And
blame Terry Sanford. This was his idea. I hope he's happy.
People always, for years and years, I would hear about this, and it happened for years and years. In order to pay for Research Triangle Park, Terry Sanford specifically helped levy a tax on food and medicine. Food and medicine at that point had not been taxed, and people bitched about that for years and years and years and years. But the Research Triangle Park and the spillage from that for 60 years or whatever now has helped bring companies like Apple and Pfizer and like worldwide IBM and Linksys and all of these companies have established because of that. But people for years and years would bitch about it. The other funny thing is that people try to work up a good lather about Roy Cooper, our governor, who's been a fairly popular governor in polarizing times. He was reelected fairly easily. I mean, it wasn't exactly a squeaker. That one was called fairly easily against that moron Dan Forrest. But they just can't seem to get anything to stick against Roy Cooper. They can't kind of paint him into the far leftist, radical Jane Fonda, Mao Zedong, whatever they try to put on him. They can't really do it, right?
Well, hang on, wait a minute. I'm so glad you said it that way, because I'm thinking as this story starts to seep into everybody here in the state, and Roy Cooper will get a lot of credit for this because he's the governor. It's on his watch. Why am I thinking that Pat McCrory is going to try to take credit for this? Why do I think that the Republican Party is going to try to take credit for this? Why am I thinking that, Britt? Why would I possibly think something like that?
Because it happens every time. I mean, there's no possible way that Apple would even consider North Carolina if the bullshit, especially over the bathroom bill that was spearheaded by Pat McCrory and the Republicans, was still in place. Well, there's no way they would be here.
But hang on a second. Again, this is brand new stuff as of Monday. Mm-hmm. As you bring that up, you think about what the North Carolina legislature is proposing. And remember, we're a couple feet behind Georgia in this race to the bottom on voting restrictions and things of that sort. And all this crap about transgender people, going after them. And that makes this deal not only more amazing and remarkable, but I certainly hope that the Republicans in this state realize that they could be playing with fire, because I guarantee you there's always an out clause for any company, certainly at this stage, before the first shovel of dirt is moved.
Right.
And if you want to blow it, do that. Go ahead. And, they can take it right up the road to Virginia if they want to. Virginia's happy to take it.
Sure. That place you just mentioned, Richmond, that's always an attractive place. It's attracted a lot of business over the past 10, 20 years, right?
Right. Or the whole Washington, D.C. area,
Sure.
Alexandria, Fairfax, that they would do. So it's almost as if this news kind of is too good to be true.
Yeah.
Because at my most cynical, I'm thinking, hey, Tim Cook, do you really know where you're putting this? And of course, the triangle is what it is because of the foresight 60 years ago of then Governor Terry Sanford. And there's a reason that Raleigh-Durham is Raleigh-Durham, and Greensboro's Greensboro, Winston-Salem's Winston, and Charlotte is Charlotte. There are reasons for that. And if the research triangle had been built in Kernersville in between Greensboro and Winston-Salem, the world would be a lot different. But it was the land. However, they put that deal together and staked out all that land over that. They did it.
Right.
They did it to their credit. But I hate to think negatively right now that there could be something that would endanger this deal, because it really seems like the ink is dry on the contract and the promise has been made. But don't blow it. Just don't blow it, North Carolina.
Terry Sanford is such an interesting character, because if you go to Wikipedia, look up his biography and stuff like that, you'll see that basically he was what was known then as kind of a Kennedy Democrat. But there were a lot of people in the state at the time that were not comfortable with that at all. And I remember one particular time that a voter came up to him when he was running for governor, and they go, "I got to know how you feel about segregation, about race." So the guy obviously wasn't happy with Terry Sanford trying to integrate stuff. And Terry Sanford looked at him square and he goes, "You know how I feel." And they paused for 2 or 3 seconds. And the guy goes, "Okay, Terry, I'm going to vote for you." He didn't really say it one way or the other, but he satisfied the guy that he was not one of these liberals trying to get his kid to go to school with black kids. He was able to do that. When he was
too far.
Yeah, he didn't. He couldn't do too much. I remember when he was running for Senate in 1992, because he had taken over the seat. He'd been appointed, and he was running for election. And that they tried to cast him as being anti-military. I specifically, because I was living in Camp Lejeune, because he had voted against a special medal for the Iraqi freedom guys. So it was, and I'm sure it was one of those deals where it was put in a large bill and he voted against it, so that made him be anti-military. Terry Sanford was a freaking Silver Star recipient from World War II. He was one of those guys, but he's not like a lot of these Republicans are out there that just wear the medals on their sleeves and their military experience and all this other horse shit. So he ends up losing that election, of course.
Right. That's just like George McGovern, who was, I guess he was number 3. He was the third highest ranking guy in terms of the number of German planes that were shot down over World War. He was like the ace, number 3 ace. And you never... And who knew that? He was just the hippie radical favorite of the far left in 1972 and got beat by Dick Nixon. By the way, it should be noted here that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, of course, has an MBA from Duke, as does the chief operating officer named Jeff Williams. He has an MBA from Duke. The senior vice president, whose name is Eddie Cue, who is in charge of Apple's online services. He also graduated from Duke. Okay, so we have to apologize now, Britt, to Duke.
Nope.
Okay.
No, that does not. Nope. I got a counterpoint. Stephen Miller and Rand Paul, Yahtzee. That's all I need. Thank you, and I appreciate you, but nice try. That's a nice try. And this comes on the day. I would also mention that Walter Mondale served in the Korean War, and he never brought that up. And while Ronald Reagan tried to duck going to the war 6 ways till Sunday, correct? Isn't that also a thing?
No, it's worse than that, because Reagan would brag about the movies, the war movies that he made. As if,
oh, Jesus. Right? This comes on the day that Facebook and Apple are engaged in war. Apparently, Apple's got a thing that's going to block Facebook from tracking people across apps on its particular platform, and Facebook ain't happy about that. Facebook, we talked about branding earlier with these stupid insurance companies. What they've tried to seize onto in the past several years is privacy. At a time when your privacy is for sale and is being bombarded, Apple says you can trust us. Your privacy is paramount with us. And this is what they're trying to prove. And it's put them at odds. It's put them at odds now with Facebook, right?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I don't think, no, because first of all, you have to opt into it. They're going to give you the choice every time. And, I find myself, even these days, when I go to a site and the thing pops up and says, we want to do the cookies, the blah, blah. You know what? I don't fight it. Hey, everybody should have cookies. Cookies are fantastic. And it's the same thing here. You've been tracked for so many years, so many decades, and so have I, and so have all of us, that at this point, that's the least of my worries. That is the least of my worries, that the same annoying ad comes up on every page that I go to for a number of days after I look up widgets, and then I get a bunch of widget ads, and that's what that is, right?
I'm sure somebody way smarter than I am is going to write the book, or maybe has written the book about the fight over cookies. And I'm sure there was a fight over cookies.
Oh, man.
We lost on that one because everybody just accepts them. It's a part of life. It's a way to be tracked, and that's just how it is. But it does seem, when you have two massive monoliths, two of the people that Republicans hate, right? All the tech companies are hated by Republicans because they're always screwing over conservatives. They're always blah, blah, blah. They're always activists, all of this shit, right? And now it seems like there is some infighting there between Facebook and Apple. And you're right. I don't know how it's going to be resolved. I don't know how Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg sit down at some sushi bar somewhere and hash things out. But, eventually everything gets worked out probably, right?
It's just not going to be. It's not going to be a thing. Can we talk about the biggest full of shit war on Christmas fake outrage thing that's popped up the last 4 days?
Please.
4 days, late last week. It's the Joe Biden only wants to allow you to eat 4 pounds of meat per year. It's Britt, here's what I want you to do right now, live as we're talking. I want you to type into your thing 4 pounds of meat.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. My picture came up. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know what happened. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I got a fact check on the story you were talking about. Does Joe Biden want to cut U.S. red meat consumption to combat climate change? And Snopes does it as well. Does Biden's climate plan include cutting 90% of red meat from our diets? Those were the two stories, of course, the top.
Right. Now, the answer is no. The answer is he never said it. There is no plan to do that. It got made up. It got printed that Joe Biden might try to stop you from eating meat in the Daily Mail. Fox News picked it up and turned it into Joe Biden wants to limit you to 4 pounds of meat per year. The governor of Texas ran with the story and said, if you think that in Texas you're going to limit how much meat we're going to eat, so it's a culture war, lie, bullshit, and it's going to be repeated over and over and over again because it fits exactly what Republicans and conservatives and red meat eating real Americans care about the most, which is as much steak and hamburgers as they can eat forever. And it isn't even true that there's going to be some kind of artificial limit. No, that's just no. You know what that would be the equivalent of? That would have been the equivalent of 30 years ago when catalytic converters were being put on cars and the rest, for a Fox News headline then to be, Bill Clinton only wants to allow you to drive 5 miles a month to fight pollution.
And they would have done that. That sounds exactly like if Fox News had been around, they would have absolutely done that story.
Right. And,
that's fantastic.
And so, but you will hear this over and over and over again. And I don't know if you've seen the picture, but I think it was Greg Abbott that said, they're going to be making us drink plant-based beer, okay? And it took about 3 seconds for people to figure out what are hops and grains? Aren't those plants?
Okay. Well,
right. So there's a picture.
Now it makes sense. I saw Chuck Schumer, and he said, "I'm drinking a plant-based beer, watching the Oscars." Yes. So now I understand. I got the context on that.
There you go. There. But Britt, and we can talk about this and tell the facts about it. But we don't control the world. We don't control the information universe. And I guarantee you by now that if you did polling, if you could do it on a lot of people who are Republicans, conservatives, Florida, Texas, that whole thing, they would tell you right now that Joe Biden wants to fight the climate change hoax by stopping you from eating hamburgers. I guarantee you it's already started to sink in. And they're going to repeat this. It's going to be like the war on Christmas. It's going to never end. Because it doesn't matter that it's truth. They just say it over and over and over again.
Well, but the thing is, do you really feel like this is going to be any kind of a winning strategy? Do you think they're going to get any traction with this?
No.
I don't either.
No,
but it's not going to stop some asshole. It's not going to stop some asshole politician from going up on a lectern and like eating a steak or a big juicy burger with shit, probably making himself go into cardiac arrest right in front of America. I mean, that shit should happen right now.
Well, you're going to have to pry that double whopper from my cold, dead, greasy hands. There's no way. I'm still eating it.
Yeah. I suppose they think that that's just, again, among places where they raise a lot of cattle, Oklahoma, Texas, the Midwest and stuff like that, and around people in the South where they stuff their colons and have heart disease at the drop of a hat. They think that's going to be a real winner. But I don't see a lot of people like, yeah, I don't. But people,
it's even more than that. It's more than that. It's about socialism. It's about government control. It's about the Marxists and the commies telling you how to run your life down to what you're allowed to eat. So it's a perfect metaphoric umbrella of bullshit to use, and it's so simple. It's so simple. Joe Biden is only going to let you eat, 4 hamburgers a month or something, whatever the number, 4 pounds a month. And damn it, I eat 4 pounds of meat every day. What are you doing to me?
It's so stupid. If you think for 3 seconds, how's he going to enforce that? How would they possibly do that? Would it be some socialism card and you got to go to the store?
Again, don't
so ridiculous. But
don't even go down the road, because then they'll turn that into, yes, you'll have to, there's going to be a meat passport. You'll have to have a meat passport.
I can't wait.
Just like the vaccine passport.
Hey, 911, I just saw my neighbor eating a hamburger, and I know he's over his 4-pound limit. Y'all need to get the cops out here and put the cuffs on him. Leading to a new level of black folks being handcuffed and shot because they were eating a hamburger.
Right.
There's a whole situation there.
On a Monday, speaking of handcuffs,
yes.
It appears to me, and I don't know whether we have to get down into the granular details of the shooting in Elizabeth City, by the police of Mr. a guy Brown, again who apparently had his back to the police and did not have a gun. But how is it possible that seemingly everywhere else in the country now the body camera video is released almost instantly? They want it out there. It gets out there, right? In Columbus, Ohio, bam, they put it out there.
Chicago.
In Chicago. But in North Carolina, we still have this arcane web of rules and laws that don't allow, without some kind of court order, for police body camera video to be put out there. And as we speak, they're doing what has happened several times that we've seen here in the last few years. Well, the family can see it. We'll allow the family to see it.
Yeah, what is that?
Well, guess what? Come on. This is not about dissing the family. That obviously they have the right to see it, but we're way past that in thinking that what's going to happen if the family sees it? What are they going to say? Well, okay, we saw it. He was supposed to be shot. No, that's obviously not the reason that they're trying to keep it under wraps. So now the family is going to see it. Benjamin Crump, the great civil rights lawyer who is the lead guy on a lot of these cases, he's in North Carolina now, although he may be forced to go straight up to Virginia because there was a police shooting in Virginia that's already starting to have the details come out where they shot a guy 10 times. So he's one busy guy. But what the hell is wrong with this state? I mean, look, if we're good enough to get Apple here in a big campus, can't we get the police video out? It doesn't have anything to do with the other thing.
But it's still, I get your point. It's like, we've talked about this for years. There are many times when you get like a 911 recording where there's no real benefit for the public, where somebody has, some person is screaming for their life. That can be on TV in 40 seconds, right? After a crime happens. I mean, right? That can happen in 20, and it's like, there's no benefit to the public because it's one of those deals where the person was killed and the person who killed them committed suicide. So it's not like, oh, we're looking for a killer. You need to hear how horrific this is. They just
There's no crime. There's no crime.
I don't want to be one of those guys, but I'll be the old guy on the porch. If it bleeds, it leads. It's obvious. I mean, it's one of those things. If they have somebody screaming for their life, they'll be able to put that on TV. But again, when it's the body worn camera, it's like, yeah, we'll have to see. And then only the family, and then only 3 people from the family, not 4, and no cousins. They do shit. They make up crazy ass shit like that all the time, and I don't know the explanation for that.
Well, I do. North Carolina is way behind many areas of the country in the police establishment getting to legislators to pass laws so that we have this situation. That's the reason. That's the only reason. And other states have been more progressive in that area. It's not as if body camera video was just invented 3 months ago. It's like we need to see if it works, or we need to see if it matters. Yeah, it matters, all right. We know it matters, and it's
that's, to me, the most
important. It's important.
Republicans try to pass stuff like this a lot of times, and it's seen as being pro-law enforcement, right? So they've staked that out. That territory is theirs. They are the pro-military party and the pro-law enforcement party. And I'm glad that people like Val Dennings are calling bullshit on this as a former police chief for the city of Orlando, which I think is a fairly large police department. She's screaming that all you guys do is you wave this blue line shit around when it benefits you. But when officers are actually being killed, like on, I don't know, let me pick a date, January the 6th, you don't give a shit. So you don't get to have that ground. We're not ceding that ground anymore, that you guys are the pro-law enforcement party anymore for all of this shit that you've done for covering up bad behavior and everything else. We're not ceding that ground anymore, and we're going to call you out for what you are. Now, having said that, I realize that simplistic shit like this sometimes work because people buy, like the thing you were talking about with the red meat. So, the Republicans cast themselves, we're the pro-red meat party. We're the pro-steak party. People buy that shit.
On this issue right now, when you have another very high-profile shooting of a black person, and there is police video, and we seem to be the only place on earth now, or at least the only place in the United States, where there are 700 hoops to jump through. And there have to be redactions, and there have to be, or they're going to be edits. I understand the redactions are they're going to fuzz out some of the faces of other people in there. Well, that'll take about a month, right? Maybe 2 months, huh? 4 months, 6 months? No. So, I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, you've got people gathering in that city. You're going to have marches. You're going to have the whole thing, and clearly the word transparency is the coin of the realm here. And we don't have any transparency right now. And only an idiot would think the reason that we don't have transparency is because they're not trying to cover up something and cover up blame. And, they're trying to cover the ass of the police right now. And it's not going to stand. There was just a very important decision made in this country last week by a jury that this stuff is got to stop. It must stop. And it's not going to start up again here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, which, 9 out of 10 of us couldn't find on a map. Okay, I had to look to see how far it was. It's by the way,
it's up there somewhere.
Right, it's 264 miles from where we are. I checked the other day.
I just know it's in the northeast corner up there. I know that Edenton and Elizabeth City, and then it's about, what is it, like 40 miles from Norfolk? It's for like 40 miles south of Norfolk, essentially, is what it is. And that's part of the reason that I think personally, because it is kind of a small town, it's kind of isolated, they thought, well, it's not going to be as big a deal as the other stuff has. I think that was part of their mindset, but they don't understand the timing and everything that's going on in this country right now.
Well, they don't understand America. If you think now that this is going to be limited to Columbus, big cities, and the small towns can get away. No. Yeah. It's just no, because all across this country in small towns, which Republicans romanticize as being the real America, this is what has been going on. And now we're having light shone upon it or cameras pointed at it. And we're never going to go back to the way it was again. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't had in the last few days. It turns out that the camera wasn't working. The batteries ran out. Some kind of a phony cover up like that could be.
It's always just strange how that thing doesn't work at just the right time. It's just an intermittent kind of thing. We passed an ignominious anniversary. We're going to be doing a lot of 1-year anniversaries, some shit that happened during COVID. And of course, it was the 1-year anniversary. I believe this happened on Friday, of Trump telling you to drink or inject bleach into your system or shine a giant light in your ass and it would kill the COVID virus. I think we all remember this, and we all remember where we were when we heard those words, and we thought, no, he didn't just say that. And then the White House, of course, tried to deny that he actually said what he said, but he did say what he said. And it was one of those things where, what's the young lady's name? Sarah Cooper. I think this helped launch her into superstardom. It was one of the big ones now. Some more details coming up on that, on the 1-year anniversary. Several former aides, Brad, have said they revealed they tried to stop Donald Trump from talking at the coronavirus task force press conferences on April the 23rd, where he encouraged health officials to study the benefits of injecting bleach to fight COVID-19.
Okay.
During that press conference. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, wait, stop the music here, because I do not want to hear all these people who were there who said, I tried to stop him. I said something to him, but he went and did it anyway because he's Donald Trump and nobody can tell him what to do. You should have quit right there on the spot and denounced him right there for the country. Don't give us this shit a year later or 3 years later, or write a book and say, I tried to stop it. The list, I'm sure, will get longer and longer of people who will say the reason I stayed is because they would have replaced me with someone worse. So I stayed, even though I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to do. And I was a voice of reason to Donald Trump. No, I don't accept it. Do not accept that. You must resign. And when you think how stupid people were for hanging in there under the guise of, I'm going to stop him, did you think that Donald Trump really was going to be president forever? That this was going to be your last job? You're going to hold whatever job you had for it? No, we don't do it that way. Now, they tried to change that on January 6th. I understand that. Right, I understand that Trump tried to become Putin and President Xi of China and become president for life. I get that. But it was never going to happen, and we're not going to allow it to happen, and we're not going to allow you to step up here a year later and say how, well, I told it. None of these people, did any of these people say they knew he was going to talk about shoving bleach into them? Or they just say, I just tried to stop him from holding these fucking press conferences day after day after day where he was out of his mind? Which one is it both?
Speaking to Politico in the days before the 1-year anniversary of the widely mocked and roundly condemned incident, former aides said that they attempted to stop the then president from addressing reporters that day. So this goes into your theory. It doesn't matter if they wouldn't have stopped him from that day. He would have just said the same shit some other
day.
He would have vomited up the same stuff.
Yeah. Who are you to think, well, a year later, if I just say that I wanted to stop him on what was arguably the worst day of all the days that he held those press conferences, that would have changed the trajectory of idiocy and lying and insanity that we experienced. No, we don't accept it. Did people put their names to this? Are there people's names in this story? Or are they all just?
It's on
so they're still afraid. They're still afraid of the Godfather sending out Sonny to come kill him. Right?
Well, they are because I mean, the biggest names in the Republican Party go down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss his ass. I understand he's moving the operation up to Jersey for the summer, so they're going to have to go up to Jersey to kiss his ass and kiss his ring and all that stuff.
Did you? I'm sure you saw which piece of shit just bought a $5.2 million condo 4 miles away from Mar-a-Lago.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that.
Yeah. So Sean Hannity.
Stupid ass.
Apparently not enough of a suck up during the 4 years of Trump's presidency and up till now, buys a place right down the road from Mar-a-Lago. And he's such a shrewd investor. Apparently that condo sold about a month ago for $4.2 million. And whoever the person that bought it for $4.2 million, good for them. They're smart. They found a pigeon to come along named Sean Hannity to pay another $1 million above that price within a month. That's a good return on your money. I would say a 25% return in real estate in 4 weeks to the tune of going from $4 million to $5 million. That's a good. That should be on one of those shows on HGTV about house flipping. That was great.
Sean Hannity has been the ultimate flippy. Is that what he would be? He's the flippy.
Now, of course, who knows? A year from now, it might be worth $6 million. I don't know, but I'm just saying, he was desperate, and he obviously the extra million didn't mean anything to him. He's got a lot of money, and if you got a lot of money, you can spend it any way you want. But I just found it. Quite interesting.
His boyfriend's going off for the summer. He's not even going to be there until September. We can play See You in September, right? For Sean Hannity, him and his boyfriend can finally get together and pitch horseshoes and drink White Claws and shit, right?
Right. Well, the season is essentially about almost over, right? In South Florida, you get into April, May, you get past Easter and Passover, it's over. It's done, and so. If you've got money, if you're the snowbirdie types who move back and forth between primarily the Northeast and Midwest and Florida, it's not going to be there. So it's just annoying.
So for all of you guys in Jersey, they're looking for a room close to where Trump's place is there. Sean Hannity's putting up the flashing red sign. I can be taken. Go ahead. Just beat me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we need to cover today, or have we done, as we like to say, enough damage on a Monday?
On a Monday. I've emptied my mind on a Monday. We'll see you on a Tuesday.